People need stories, child. Stories bring us hope, and that hope is real. If that's the case, what does it matter whether the people in them actually lived? Hello, my lovely friends, it's Margaret, and I am the Word Nerd. And today, we're going to be talking about Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. So I was lucky enough to buddy read this with my brother, and we both absolutely adored this book. Probably me more than him, I don't know. So he and I are both huge fans of Brandon Sanderson, so when I heard he was coming out with a new YA book, I convinced him to buy it on Audible so we could listen to it together as he was driving across the country, because that's how we do things. Skyward is a YA fantasy about Spinsa. Now, Spinsa lives on this planet where most of the people live underground. And the reason they live underground is because there is an alien race orbiting the planet, and when they start to build too much above on the planet's surface, the aliens come and basically wipe them out. And so Spinsa really wants to be part of the Starfleet. She wants to be a pilot. She wants to help fight against this alien race that has been attacking her people for the last 100 years or so since they have crashed on this planet. Unfortunately for Spinsa, in a battle that happened many, many years ago, her father was branded a coward after he abandoned his flight team. And so she is having to deal with the fact that no one actually wants the coward's daughter in flight school. Obviously, it goes further than that because we wouldn't have a book otherwise. I think this might be my favorite Brandon Sanderson novel to date. I gave it 5 stars. It had a solid plot that had kept you guessing and working and figuring things out. It had a great cast of characters that was very multidimensional, very full. It had fantastic world building, and obviously it had a kick-ass main character. I absolutely loved Spinsa as a main character. I don't really have a lot of negatives for this book because the one negative I have is that there was not enough kissing for my taste, but also it's a slow burn romance, and so, like, I'm kind of okay with that. I'm just saying. Would I have liked more romancy moments? Yes, I definitely would have, but it's there. I can see it, possibly, and if it follows any of his, like, the path, but if it follows the path of his other novels, it's gonna happen. It may not be as overt as in his Reckoners series. It's a little more subtle. Spinsa as a protagonist was fantastic, and one of the things that I really, really liked about Spinsa is she is so well written as a female lead. Like, she is the strong female lead that you're looking for, because not only is she fierce, not only is she a fighter, she's very belligerent, she's very, she's grown up her entire life being called a coward, and so when people try to brand her a coward for what her father did, she fights back. She's definitely a hit first, ask questions later kind of girl. But that's not all that her character is made up with. We get to see Spinsa in so many different facets. We get to see her as a daughter, we get to see her as a fighter, we get to see her as a friend, and a caring friend at that. There were definitely moments that girl hate could have happened, and not like your typical girl hate, but like more like spacey, science-y, academic girl hate. But Spinsa she didn't fall into that, and that was so, like, it was so good. I mean, she's very standoffish, and it takes her a little bit of time to warm up to people. But once she warms up to them, she's good. I would say she is a very angry Hufflepuff. If we were sorting her into Hogwarts houses, I felt like just reading her, if I had been reading this without knowing who the author was, I would not have been able to tell that the author was male. Just like, from my general impressions when I was listening to this, there are times you can really tell the author is male when there are female characters on the page, but this was not one of those times for me. So the plot was a bit on the slower side. Now, I don't think that was a bad thing because it was never boring. I was always interested, I was always invested, and I was always trying to figure out what was going to happen next. It's very much a character introspective plot, and we're dealing with Spinsa, and Spinsa wrestling with the fact that she's trying to get into this flight school. One of the other things I want to say about the characters is they were all so just like fleshed out. I absolutely adored how each person had their own little quirks. We know their insecurities. You are sad when people die because this is a fighty space novel, so people are gonna die, and it happens pretty early on in the book, but still by the time it was happening, you were attached to the characters and you were sad that anything happened to them. One of my favorite characters, I can't tell you who they are, but just like Mbot. Mbot was amazing. I absolutely adored Mbot, and I think just about anybody who is into kind of the quirky, if you like very dry, acerbic, kind of like doesn't know they're funny characters, Mbot is going to be your character. I also absolutely loved Cobb, who ends up being Spinsa's mentor. He's someone he was her father's wingmate. He has a cinnamon roll that could kill you. I loved him. He is very fierce. He is very protective, and I loved him. He's also very real, and he doesn't like, He's going to tell you how it is. But it just, yes, he was a fantastic, like, teacher type character to be in this story. The plot, I will say, is a bit on the slower side. So if you need a lot of action happening right away, that's not this book. However, I will say I was never bored. I was always invested in what was happening. It was always something interesting happening, but a lot of it was internal. It takes a bit of time for things to get going, but again, I don't think that was a bad thing. I think it was a lot of build that needed to happen. The ending is super fast-paced. Like, things are just happening. I was texting my brother constantly, like, talking about what was happening. One of the things I really liked about this book is that it is kind of part alien invasion novel and part mystery, because you've got the external threat, the outside threat of these aliens that are orbiting the planet and want to kill everyone. And then you have this internal mystery that Spencer is trying to solve. She was 7 when her dad died. So from what she knows of her dad, she feels like he was not a coward. She doesn't entirely know what happens, but she thinks something fishy has happened, that somebody is wrong about something, that they misinterpreted something. And so she kind of goes into it she ends up trying to figure out what was going on with her dad, why he did what he did, and what exactly happened, because she never got the full story. And so we're kind of figuring that out along with her. One of the things I really loved about this is that if you are a careful reader, if you are a reader who pays attention, you are going to figure out, because you have to understand, this is how I like to read. If you are a careful reader who pays attention, who knows, knows what to look for, you're gonna kind of have an idea about what's going on. Now, I didn't guess it 100%, but I had a vague idea of what I thought. I had several theories, and one of them was right. So I really liked how Sanderson worked that foreshadowing into the plot. I love it. I love it when I can guess what's going to happen, because that's what I spend most of the book doing. Yes. Sanderson's world building, as always, was impeccable. I really like good, well-integrated sci-fi, where all of the details and the world building don't overtake the plot or the characters' storylines, and I think he did a really good job of giving you what information you needed, and a lot of it came in smaller bites. A lot of it was woven into the story. It was part of the action. Like, you were following it. Like, it was something like you would ask the question and there would be the answer. Like, you weren't sitting there with 3 pages talking about how a starship works. Like, that's info dumping. That's not good writing. I understand that it is a gun. It is a laser weapon. It is going to fry the bad guy's brains, basically. I do not need to know the story of the great-great-grandfather of the man who made it. Like, I don't need 4 pages on how a falchion is made. Okay? One of the fantastic things about Mbot and Mbot's purpose in the story is that Mbot does know some things that maybe Spencer doesn't know. So if there's something that, like, we need to be introduced to as the audience, Mbot is going to explain it, and Mbot explains it. Like, it's just always so hilarious the way Mbot explained it. And I thought, like, that was a fantastic vehicle to give us some of the world building and some of the history and all of that. Like I said, I thought it was fantastic. I loved it. I really think that you should read it. This is a fantastic book if you like sci-fi. This is a fantastic book if you like Brandon Sanderson. And one of the things that I really liked about this is that if you are trying to get into sci-fi, this is a really good book for you, I would say, because the world, like, it's not the heavy-duty sci-fi that, like, your mom is used to. It's, like, more modern. It's definitely a YA novel. It's definitely aimed to be accessible. You don't have to sit there and, like, piece together everything, and you're not having to deal with the politics of this world and that world and this other world that aren't even involved in what's going on, and, like, no one's having to explain naming conventions in this. Like, it was fantastic. Let me know in the comments if you have read Skyward. I would love to know what you thought about it. If you enjoyed it, if you didn't, let me know. As long as everyone's polite, we can talk about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button. I make videos 2 to 3 times a week about books and writing, and I would love to see your lovely face here on a regular basis. If you want more of me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Those are both @thewordnerd with a 3 in nerd instead of the E. That is it for now, my friends. I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!